Hello, it's Shug here, and I'm sitting out here amongst my fleet of control line aircraft. The airplanes that you fly with a handle, with cables going out to them, not remote control. So this is for those of you that like my control line stuff and are interested in that and not the hammocking and backpacking and wonder why I haven't put any out this flying season. I've just been flying casually. I didn't really have anything to show. Just working on the pattern, and I didn't even get out as much to fly this summer. But let me explain why I have so many and how one ends up with so many if you got a hobby that you're passionate about. Some people call it obsession. Obsession makes people cry. I'm passionate. Some of these planes are retired. Some I don't fly that much. Some are okay flyers. Some are great flyers. But in trying to fine-tune this pattern, you want a more competitive, groovier plane. And by groovy, I mean turns tight, is trimmed out right. And what happens is once you start flying a while, you quit crashing as much. So a lot of these planes have been repaired over and over. That's the story. So right now, the ones I fly the most, this one, this one, this one. This one right here is called the Tudor. This one I built from a kit. I covered with silk span. I painted on all my rivet lines. I inked it. I did all these dots with a pen. I painted it with dope, and it is an okay flyer. It's electric. I don't really fly it a lot. It's kind of heavy. Oh, and this Tudor right here, this one I built, I don't know if you can tell, but that's me. I put in there as the pilot. This is the old Strega, has an Enya 61 engine. It's big. It's a pretty good flyer. I thought it was great, but lately I've been flying this one with a PA-75 on it. This is the Randy Smith designed SV11. This is the one I flew this morning. This is one of my current really good flyers, as is this one right here. It's a 40 size. This is a 60 size. You can kind of see the difference, I think, in size. This one has an OS 40 on the front. It's been reworked by Randy Smith. Excellent flyer. Same designer for both planes. Kind of a lousy flyer. It was given to me just built up. I covered it and painted it with silk span. It's an old-time model called the Chief. I called it the Chief after my dad because he was a Navy Chief. Not a great flyer. This one I bought off a guy. I've crashed it like 3 times and rebuilt it, the Privateer. Okay flyer. This one was sent to me in the mail by Terry Smith. Thanks, Terry. I've only flown it a couple of times. I've got a big OS 46 on the front, which is way too much power for it, but I will get it in the air again. And the Privateer has an OS 40 size. This is a retired airplane right here. I think I was the 3rd or 4th owner. I got 2nd place in a couple of contests with it. You know, it's tissue and dope, starting to fall apart, but it's got a lot of engine mount problems right there. There's a double star 40 engine in it, which is really nice, Russian made. This is the airplane that pretty much got me back into the hobby, April 2014, the Prowler. Still a great flyer. I repaired it probably 15 times is how many times I've dinked this in. I have the engine taken off right now, but I would put that in the air again. That's a primary force. That's an ARF. ARF means almost ready to fly. It comes covered, you just do some assembly. And both of those, both of my current flyers are ARFs as well. I just had a guy comment on a video and said, aren't ARFs cheating? I don't know. I'd rather fly than build. That's just me. This one is what really got me started. I started rebuilding that. This is what you call a little half A. It's a small plane. It's electric. I had some old videos of me just trying to do a loop and fly that. That got me back into the hobby in 2014. This is my electric P40, a great flyer. I've yet to fly this yet. It's a little half A that Keith gave me. This is an electric Super Clown, pretty good flyer. I'm going to let a new guy fly it. I don't care if he crashes it. Pretty good flyer here. It's an electric P51. This is a gas P51 that I bought from a guy who built his planes and was selling a bunch. This is an ARF Nobler, pretty good flyer. This is a Panther that Keith built. He won a lot of contests with it, great flyer. I've already crashed it once and repaired it. This is the Score. piloted by Alfred E. Newman. It has a Magnum 52 that's been reworked by Randy Smith. I did pancake it and bust it up, rebuilt it, flies okay. That is pretty much my fleet. Oh, and by the way, that's the Haven XL hammock, the larger Haven, in case you're wondering. And I know if you watch my channel, and most of you are here for the hammock stuff, I'm assuming, and I do have some people that like to watch the control line flying, but like I said, this summer I was flying casually, just casually working on my competitive pattern. There were no contests I could attend, so you know, flying was just fun, just going out and seeing if I could still remember the maneuvers. It's no different than a backpacking trip. Can I still get up that hill? It's all of that. So the airplanes I have behind me, some of them are the ones I started back with in 2014 when I was building the Prowler, which I had probably started in, gosh, it was probably 1993 or so, and my daughter was born in 1991. My wife Meg asked me for the first time, do you have a hobby that you could do a little closer to home that didn't take so much time away? Because our daughter was like about, you know, a year and a half. And I said, yeah. So I put all my control line flying, remote control flying away, went and bought myself a mandolin and started playing. I think I did that in 1996 though, but it took me a while to find something to fill that. You know, the closest thing I can equate this hobby to is to the folks that play golf. You know, you're outside, you're trying to get perfection with your golf game. And when we fly control line, particularly flying what we call the stunt pattern, which is the series of maneuvers, and you fly them the same every time. And man, I have never hit perfection. I'm not even sure I've even hit very good yet, but it's that quest and that constant study, and it's that constant practice, and there's so many factors involved: the wind, the sun, your prop length, prop pitch, motor run, engine run, wingspan, weight, tip weight, line length, handles. Speaking of handles, here's my handles. Yeah, now these are all my handles right here. In fact, this is my handle for the Vector, that little plane down there when I'm flying. We have a handle that we hold on to maneuver our plane. This one has 60-foot lines, goes out to the plane, and I hook it to the lead outs on the wing, and that's what controls the plane. And a lot of us that fly seriously, we like to have a dedicated handle for every plane. And I won't go into the deep explanation, but there's a lot of little trimming. So if I were to just put this handle on another plane, due to my line lengths and stuff, it may not be trimmed out right, meaning it may have a lot of down elevator and up flap, and I'll be fighting it the whole time to fly, and I'd be holding my handle like that to keep it just level, where you really want your handle out flat, and then you do your maneuvers from there. I like a hard point handle. A few of my handles are cable handles like this, easier to adjust. But this is just a little look. Some of the handles I use for various planes. Really important and overlooked part of the hobby. This is the handle I was using this morning for the SV11, which is that plane right there, and that's the Vector. These are my current two regular flyers. Best flyers I have right now. And this is our stainless steel cables all wrapped up here on our reel. There is a learning curve, just like hammocks. I mean, if you're going to learn to fly control line and you want to go out and fly, it's not like the drones you can buy today. You cannot just fly one from day one. You got to be willing to crash, bust them up, bring them home, repair them, go through that, because the first time everybody flies one, they tend to over control, they move their handle too much, they dork it in. I mean, that appeals to me. I like something with a learning curve, like playing the mandolin, or getting into hammocks, or just juggling, or control line aircraft. Learning curve, baby. John and I are out here. We're going to be trimming out our SV11 control line airplanes today. I used to say when I was young, I'll never do anything fun at 9 o'clock other than sleep. Well, that changes when you turn 63. So anyway, that's what we're doing. And question I get a lot is, why do I fly control line? Well, we all got to have a hobby. I love it. It's exciting. It's heartbreaking. It's exhilarating. I get to go outside and fly in a field with a couple of friends. There's always the lure of crashing and having to rebuild or toss that plane, and that's what really makes it exciting. Is you take this little piece of art, put it up in the air, and it's vulnerable. Anything could happen. It could be my fault. The line could snap. It could be the weather. So that's why I fly control line. Always gives me a little buzz. It's never not dull. Gonna lay out my 66 feet of line, my handle, a hard point, 19 strand, strong stainless steel cable, 0.018 by 19 strand. Does that mean anything to you? Now I'm walking my lines to get any twists out of it. I had maybe 2 or 3 twists in there from last time we flew. When people watch these control line vids, and thank you for watching them, even if you're not interested, they always ask, don't your lines get all tangled up? When we're flying the pattern, what we're going to do today, like say we're doing 3 inside loops, okay, like that. So that twists the lines 3 times, then we fly out inverted. We fly several laps of that with the plane upside down. That puts no twist in the lines. And then we come out and we do 3 what's called outside loops. And that untwists the lines. So basically now we're back to having no twists or maybe 1 twist. So it's always a series of your lines twisting and untwisting. So by the end you should come out with no twist, but for some reason I always have a couple because I usually practice a couple of maneuvers at the end of the flight. Yep. Does that explain it? Do you care? I know I do. All right, here we go. Flight time. Right into the sun. right, not too bad. John got my plane. Now I'm back, I grab his handle and we go out and get his SV11. So we got John out there now, and I laid his handle down just how he likes it, keep his lines tight. Now he's gonna fuel his airplane, get ready. I go out there, and I'm basically his airplane valet. I'll hold it, get ready, see if anything's wrong while he's fueling up and getting his engine started, and then he'll go out and he'll give me his signal to let go, and I'll release the plane without pushing, and he's airborne. See, now part of this pitting process, I saw that John's lead outs, the two lines that come out the wing, were just kind of a little crossed up, and he's busy fueling and getting his engine ready, and sometimes you miss that stuff. It's the job of the pitter to take care of it before the plane's running or point it out to the pilot. So John is basically out there really getting to know this plane. It's fairly new to him. Both of us are flying these SV11s. It's a Randy Smith design. Great flyer. It's a big plane, 60 size engine. Up to 60. I've got a PA75 on mine, which is a custom built engine. I think John is running a Super Tiger 51 on that. Pulls it around great. We're having to do our maneuvers into the sun this morning because the wind is coming from that way, and with control line, you fly with the wind at your back when you do your stunts because you don't want to lose any tension in those two cables going out to the plane that are controlling the elevator and the flaps, all right? Otherwise, you got no control. So, but the good thing is we got a little cloud cover. That's always good. Well, it was a good morning of flying. Put in 3 good flights before it started getting really windy up top because we got a highway behind this retaining wall back here. But anyway, the wind is coming from that direction, so it hits that wall and then creates this really weird wind, 45 degrees to 90 degrees up. So that made it interesting today. Had a new guy come by, an old control line flyer named Don, who was checking out our stuff and is wanting to get into the club, so that's encouraging because control line is not a dying hobby, but you know, it had its big popular days in the 40s and 50s and even the early 60s. Early? So anyway, had a good time. Time to pack it up, go on home, get on to it on this Sunday afternoon. Woo, buddy! All secured, Sector 7! Yeah, so there you go. Hope I bored you to death there. Now, you know, it's one of those things when I'm at a party or something and people go, hey, I see you fly those little toy airplanes. How is that? And I just kind of go, yep, I'm out flying toy airplanes. Because I usually will say to somebody, do you really want to know? And they go, I don't really. It's like me asking about someone that's a gamer and I go, I don't know much about Fortnite. Could you tell me? And then they start and I go, you know, I see somebody I know over here. I got to go.